Yene Opani Farouk Al-Wahab ending international diplomatic consultant in Bisanum. What is at the center of all these Russian attempts to say Ukraine for eti womo womo eni womo benya. Opani yemakwa ba no pay. Na ebom ti no pay.
Bibia okay.
Mini ushia o eye bi ase na me bo me humbo ne se me fro na so aso a shikakra ntimi anyone share nin komo Kate ya ye call last Saturday wo
I said the mood was very sad and
Indeed.
It was very bad. So
Indeed.
all of us
Indeed.
no be I worried.
Indeed.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. Ukraine any Russian sense no opinion what is at the core of
it? Okay, it needs a little bit of a historical background. The problem is that it's nothing but Russia. They seek to say, sir, if any country would join the European Union as a member and function like European Union member state, not Ukraine. That is actually the undertone, and I say the diplomatic understanding of the whole exercise. And they say Russia feels that Ukraine was an integral part of the UdSSR, and for that matter, Russian Federation. Russia sees that Ukraine was the hub of the Russia in terms of their arms and then their possessions and their nuclear warheads. Everything of Russia at the time and a Ukrainian member of the Federation. So if you recall, in 1986, whereas America, especially, and in the West, infiltrated the camp of Russia on the backside, on the blind side again. At that time, Boris Yeltsin and then also Mikhail Gorbachev. Na West found this evil because that was the dangerous arsenals, Russian nuclear reactors, war Ukraine, Chernobyl. And the sober watch here, the Chernobyl surprisingly, before say Russia, not Chernobyl, reactor number 4, one was the deadly ones, blew off, making Russia a bit light. At that time, Ukraine was still part. But later, the Russian Federation in 1991, Ukraine decided said they will not be part. And at that time, the republics, just like how we used to have the republics, and I'm joined by the Republic of Ghana. The republics of Russia, the first country I know where Afghanistan, and Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Ukraine, now Russia for and diet. Say because the Russian Federation, when it broke down, Belarus, Azerbaijan, and the Yugoslavia, and the backup of Russia Federation, no part of the Federation, no back home as a Russian pro-ally. Yugoslavia also began a problem in 1990, 1991. And you see Western influences and breaking all the republics of Yugoslavia. You began a war, Ebeka, Serbia. Albania ten ho, Montenegro ten ho, Kosovo or ten ho, Ubia ten ho. Until Russia who said, Wabaya one alone. Russia who said, the strength of the UdSSR, which Ukraine was an integral partner. Next said Ukraine for Chernobyl na a diffuse year Ukraine for no crime politician before 91 Lombaji independence and now Marty say independent nation there. There is self-determination. Now Ukraine are then watching why are they only Western a delay underground. Until that time, Putin was not in the picture. Putin had been a mayor. Putin had been a district councillor. Putin had been a KGB boss, or a whole lot of things. And the Putin who said the real Russia, the real ally of Russia, the whole Soviet Union disintegrated. Abeka Russia is to Russia. Na country be to say, Omo Republic to say Chechnya. Whom are Omo used to deadly fights. Omo tries to Omo under the descent. Russia crashing Roma as we speak. When neutralize citizenless. And Russia will be a free Chechnya. We need passport. Where a Russian, we need ID card or a stateless, but or Russia won't even be Sana nan compares only Ukraine for 1 year, but Ukraine is too big for Russia to do that. and Russia found kwan business and a chedia. Yebe attack Ukraine. But before so we na bitino. Na ya war Ukraine president Omaba, omu more or less pro-Russian. Omu more or less omu sika with the federation. Obi ti se Petro Poroshenko. Petro Poroshenko no ono na ye confectionery products milk niama. The president he is more than $2 billion worth. No, we get too much. Now, no, some of them no pro-Russia. Into see ati angwaji independence krana. Still yani Kremlin ewo bibika. But Usha Zelensky mo Volodymyr Zelensky mo name some of them no omu nyina ye anti-Russia, omu ye pro-Europe. Eno na hit Russia up into Crimea. Any the basis say Crimea part no. Now, woman can pro-Russians, but the border of Ukraine and go through as Ukrainians. So the citizenry on the borderline with Russia's border with Ukraine were screaming and shouting because here communist, proper communist. Woman a share a chair, a warness and yamanu. Woman pure communist. You know, woman per se, woman European integration. So they were shouting and screaming at Putin said, "Ome redeem woman." So Putin used that one as a basis. And Russia being a member of the NATO, the whole Europe and the Atlantic forces now want Russia say, "Onjai they all quiet annexation of a particular part like a region." And it's Ghana. Now Burkina Faso say, "Omo babeje Brown region," and I say, "Omo babeje your friend say the Upper East." Sa pepe na Russia no, oye na dwen say Togo, Ghana feels a citizen, Aflawu, and I say citizens, Lumia, a hoya, a quackwachi, at the Amawum. And that is what Russia did. In 2014, Russia annexation of the Crimea. Of course, within the forces, was of course with the support of the citizens of Crimea and as Russia side, and the European Union, unanimously, Pam said Russia a member of the NATO, almost Sizuomo. But Rome sees you as a member of the NATO. There's something that was also called the NATO-Russia Council. Council there, Oman Briki. Name of a membership of NATO, Oman Council, that is the part of the council. Name of Oman suspension of Russia. Into the build-up from 2014 till now, Oman who said, European, who said, yes, Russia for Etma next Crimea. But still in Ukraine now, one person be part of European Union because Russia will still say they will be naked. Now, no, almost visibility, no, be naked. In sanity, there countries in Belarus, Macedonia, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and all the countries in Ukraine, or join European Union, one thing. And then Ukraine society table in the membership of the European Union. What table 2024? What table membership? And then they want to join completely in 2030. And Russia still said this move in 2024, in 2 years to come. So when we be a member of European Union country, Russia will therefore be a little bit in crisis because of what? Firepower. And the firepower already, Ukraine. Already, inside Ukraine, Russia firepower ni be kuti ho. Name channel be na kasa ni diffuse and Russia phobia. You need nuclear arsenals no ho. And Putin is a hardliner. Now, some of these things in your West Africa say, why in the world West? Or member and permanent member of the your friends, the Council of UN Council, Security Council. Russia, only terms of tenure of government. She said the tenure of government, your friend is Putin. Or call the terms we are, or chance or the Medved at Bayern, or then a Bayern, or Sion, or no move to the Prime Ministerial seat, and or turn the office in the presidential palace. One man now call in the Kremlin, no pretty a vice president's office, which of course they don't have. So they were using the Prime Minister. And one man, what now? But after 4 years, he collected the part because all those boys, and the boys. Into Ukrainian businessmen and women now, Omobesha Europe, especially in UK, be invest here. Omo na Putin fee say, Omo undermining the authority, Omo undermining the secrecy, Omo air force so the other Russian federations still to continue to break and support European Union. I don't know about be Obama omo gas ne sa pilo your friends the president they kunkum UK so far 3 or so our United Kingdom and no all the warnings are British investigation and see. So Putin is calling the bluff of Europe and he's calling the bluff of the Americans and he's calling the bluff of the Western. But interestingly, and you are no member country of a NATO now, or no, I withdraw from the NATO. And I say, you're suspending. France cried the only the Charles de Gaulle in 1986 because the American forecast said after the Empire World War, third one, Obian declared the warheads, Obian declared the atomic near there. Charles de Gaulle said no. Or reveal France warheads or withdraw France from NATO. It is not the first time a member of the Security Council in NATO a rush. And in NATO, as we speak, Putin there as we speak, or only there, he sees himself say, our backup, our Security Council, that is Russia. And if you would recall, the Russia army plus the Chinese army is bigger than the whole European Union. And the whole Europe population of 840 million. China army is 1.2 million. Russia army supporting China, they are bigger than almost the whole world's army put together. And their mind is that Russia need provoke. But me, from where I sit, I know that China is sitting quietly because if you look at the Security Council, China had always voted in favor of Russia. Russia had always voted in favor of China against the other four, the British, the Americans, the French, what they said. And to this five and another, yes, a visitor that could be Ghana, a non-permanent member of the Security Council, become one of my Omuni is 6. But the five from Nankasa there, 2, Russia and China, no, the Russia, can't talk, no, see European Union, why are prepared, or provoke or percent the final bomb blasted. But it will not lead, as most of the journalists in the country across the world say, this will lead to Third World War. That's nonsense. There cannot be any Third World War that is called convention because Russia only colonies to Africa. And the African countries now were colonized, either the British or the French. We are now independent sovereign nation called Ghana, Republic of Ghana in 1960. In the next few days, we are 65 years. The British Kokan Tokwa, they cannot come and pull Ghana army. Won't even pull the Kenyan army. Won't even pull the Zimbabwe army. So that kind of said the man focus. There will be a wave. It is not. And to Putin who said, if he becomes a fighter, he would deal with the single European country member as it is. And indeed, British alone cannot stand Putin, regardless of the forces and the Royal Army, because the size doesn't come even up to the numbers of the Russian forces. The quality in terms of weaponry, the braveness, the UK knows, they can be very good in the air power. The France that can fight on the ground troops, the France will not go to Russia to mess up because they don't want Paris to be destroyed. And to Putin here so clever, say, the next border, the countries are is Poland. Poland would declare non-aligned in terms of fight. We're a Red Cross nation into obey the red and white flag. Canada, red and white flag. Austria, red and white flag. Switzerland, red and white flag. And so those countries that are not prepared to fight, and they will not go into fight. Germany is one. And Germany is the biggest ally in terms of economic power or European Union, on a central bank of Europe or Frankfurt. So if Germany themselves Second World War, they don't hold weapons to fight. They go as either mediators and as Omoko or a NATO member, but you bet my medical. But Germany does not hold weapon to go to the front line because of their history, First and Second World War. And to Putin, one should not make a mistake, sir. The whole NATO can fight Putin. They cannot fight Putin, and they know they cannot. Because individual countries, if you bring Belgium, what is the head of NATO now? Belgium's size of army, what is it? It's not even up to the size of Ghana army. France will not go to NATO and fight with NATO because they themselves, they also withdrew from NATO. And you know, so if it is America, look at where America is and where Russia is. But if America, they will not go to war with Russia because they know, say, any European member country like Italy, you're from the Western allies now, only America for any UK, any France, Second World War as one part. The Axis power nations are join anti-Europe, anti-America. Italy or fighting against America during the Second World War. Japan or fighting against America during they were supporting the German, your friend is Nazi powers of Hitler. And the second countries in the West, what Mako developed, and then they created the problem between China and Japan because China in the Second World War was fighting for the United States, was fighting for your friend is was fighting for France, was fighting alongside with UK. And to the Second World War now, China for anti-Mamwa, the West now more China. Japan and no China war confrontation because of say Japan support to Germany and against China as support to West. Omu ebupu China, omu pu omu kumfum Roma no omu kom peki the whole omu land. Eko Australia so called dominate say omu call this Australia. The West now go by China. That is why China withdrew and became a communist. And to be a communist, one who the communist brother that is Russia. Obebuano. And if the world should make a mistake, say there's a fight today, the world should not make a mistake, say European Union plus the NATO. What can NATO, again, or Atlantic member, NATO, they know we need Dama, we need Shay, we need weapon, we need Tiabo Fred, we need helicopter, and we need jet. I'll be fly from here. Nigeria, so a NATO member, on to me, we need baby obit mako. I supported the NATO. And to the NATO membership countries, the functionary ones, the few ones that in Europe. And the few ones that are in Europe, Putin can take care of them within a second. Romania, Bulgaria, okay, and the Czech Republic, Poland, only the woman in South, because even about 10 years ago, I stand to be corrected, the pro-Russian government, anti-Russian government, joining European Union with Poland, Putin a year independence day of the Soviet Union, of course, they are former allies. Only invite you, baby. But when they were leaving, the prime minister, the president, the defense minister, the police IGP, all the top hierarchy, Russia, Putin cleverly invited all of them to attend the function. When they left Russia, they left Kremlin and they left your friends in Moscow. At the tip, entering Poland's border, and unknown Atsna, Ehitioma, Omu prime ministers Nina said team nowhere. These were the people I know and Omia pro, even Omia anti-Russia, join European Union. Because Poland now a full member, a full European Union member, only holding the commission of the European Union Liga. And it's Russia for skeptical about countries that the republics na omoko ente Ukraine can European Union dia. Next year said European Union, especially Germany, especially Czech Republic, France many are the idea benefited from Russia the gas Ukraine so were the same gas na obetima supply. And the sign said they engage you into fight. You engage you into risky business. Now European Union not to say Germany onye who says and then Russia to the gas ma. Why is Putin doing this at this time? Because all the world wars no makunina a Cold War. Cold War is whereby said a winter time and a fight in Ijinam. Winter time in Ijinam is here. What's our COVID? We soldiers cannot move. We military cannot move. Police cannot move. Omenina under condition of COVID there will be a drain yarea no. And this one no military come yarea. At what point in a military in Kwan, Obetima Kwakwa was at Awum, and I said the citizen of the whole country, Yatu Mogasim. And primarily, the European Union member states, citizens, Omon pet the air question said, Mobiania Putin one and I'm the baby, so you claim for any issue, let him go ahead. But if again indeed said Momoko support member can nationals they are not in support of anything called military aggression, and NATO cannot attack Russia. And the Russia they put in here intimidation, machoism, and trying to bluff. Said the American for a moment to her. Many Europe no year they have been Europe. Some year member Mombra. And indeed, make call baby now. Ghana from Penphobia Cheshire. And there was a fierce argument say American Putin to many American call. What are we talking about? What do we understand? Putin as we speak. Our raw statics as your friend members. Which are them? One of them is Cuba. Cuba had been an American or an enemy. Russia for Putin Amakwine etimi at the vessels, the warheads at the Akwakusi is your friends Cuban waters for the past 5 years. And the warheads in FAC Florida. But the land and answer baby or territorial Cuba. Cuba is unfriendly to United States.
Yeah.
And if there should be anything, Putin can still attack from Cuban soil. Only Nicaragua, Hugo Chavez knew, but still the same pro-Russian government. Almost better supported from the North American side. Canada, only Ukraine, your friends Nicaragua. Autonomy may be big, and it's about to take on the North American regions. Which are they? The Caribbean side, and there's nothing there. Omo Bikra Niami, Omia 10. Texas and Caicos, Niami, 48. Including 48 members, Nekoko. Barbados, Niami, only 2,000. Trinidad and Tobago, Niami, only 2,000. And all those, the whole Caribbean, and Kahu, Jamaica, Niami, only 20, even 5,000. And woman who said, Sekoba said North America, Echo Latin American side, in the Kakrano. Nicaragua for bit my inquisition, and they are supporting Russia, and then other pro-Russian governments, other part of the world. Bearing in mind that Serbia up to now, Serbia as in Belgrade, they are still in support of Russia. And if there's any escalation, the Serbians are still very good fighters. On the back, Cuba be back, Nicaragua be back. There are other countries only silent, but they are pro-Russian support. Communist countries around, communist parties in Iran, they don't are pro-Russian. And it is a little bit dicey issue, but one must understand before you deal with this subject. But ironically, to say that the Russia, they are just intimidating Ukraine not to be a membership of the European Union as it gets closer in 2024. No other thing, nothing more than that.
Opening Ebedosi and a pay for the historical antecedents how they are and a pay Ejimedian so.
Now, my main fan can say, yeah, not maybe I'm a more for no more resource persons. I'm of preferable.
Yeah, security
analysts in this country so called. No, yeah, now I beg to say, sir, ma omo. I am more journalists, and of course we understand maybe as Sebi Mufri Banti topics within Europe and other parts of the world, and I am a fault. We need too much because we are not used to war and sections. But security analysts are more free woman, and some Nairam can be supremely outrageous. It doesn't fall the basis of the diplomacy. They don't understand the diplomatic antecedent of it. They don't understand the military and the historical background. Sometimes, so mobile kanyama. Yeah, most processing here. In any case, yeah, most check facts. Some of them money better say Russia ne American crab Nagana cry World War BBC. Me pacho. Me did sa akonya we be man say. Security analyst so far now almost say you're expert in security and there's nothing says wait there minimum information and I say my mind didn't say be new sebi European war, European Union, European history, and as you know matna any school with them with some of these things. So we need history now OTTBA it is Ghana Army Krane Babe Cobra American among Mako. Ghana a sovereign nation, TNT weapons say, ye call and will be a quackle, ye co support and Tissa. And the Yamin come on in Yamin Yajuma. World War BNC, Russia, BBNC, European Union, common talk, I must, but for me to let you know, say, European Union on making attempt. There's no European country or by an agency on Russia, it will never happen. It's in Yamin come on.
Ebedo say Odinche Mui Abre and a pay Ejimedian so.